Alright, this is going to be part 3 of the top bar beehive, where I'm cutting the actual bars into different widths, and I'm kind of combining some of the things between, I'm still making some decisions between the McCartney-Taylor style, which is the basic Kenya top bar beehive style, and the backyardhive.com DVD information. And one of the things they pointed out in the DVD is that it's really helpful to the bees if they're going to pull down straight comb for you to have your hive level. And so it's not quite level, but it's close. And frankly, I'll be honest with you, the only reason it's that close to being level is because of the weight of the bars. Without the weight of the bars, this foot comes off the ground, and so this thing it's kind of uneven back here. Anyway, I found out that when you go to a lumber yard and you ask for a 2x4, the piece of wood they bring to you does not measure 2 inches by 4 inches. Now that is a lie. If you go and buy a 1x2, which is what I was going to do, just buy a bunch of 1x2s and put them in, obviously that's not going to be the same size. So to outsmart that whole lying process that they have in the lumber industry, I bought 1x4s. And I found out that if I would take a 1x4 and measure in 2 inches here, and that would leave a 1.5 over here, because it's not a 1x4, it's a 1 by about 3 3/4 or something like that. Anyway, it's turning out just right. That because if I did that, if I have a section that's 2 inches wide, that the more narrow one is going to be for the brood comb, because the brood comb of the top bar beehive only needs a narrow strip, but the bees instinctively, when they start storing honey, the comb is a little bit wider, and so you need a wider bar. And so as you look over here, and by the way, this is an easterly direction, I'm facing east here. And so the information in the DVD says your top bar beehive, the entrance to your hive, should either be facing east to greet the morning sun or south. And so I'm going to face this thing east just because it's convenient for me here. And so what's going to happen is, since the entrance, here's going to be the entrance right here. And so this end, this is where the more narrow brood bars are going to be. And then back toward the back, the wider bars for the honey is going to be in this section. So something to consider. And Prepper A has been helping me as I split these using my circular saw here and ripping this all the way down, and then cutting them 22 inches, which is the width that I need here, 22 inches. And then we kind of hit it with sandpaper to clean it up a little bit, and then we're going to go from there. There was one other thing I was going to mention that you might consider if you are considering building a top bar beehive. Once again, I'm referring back to both of those styles of making a top bar hive. A top bar hive that is on legs, which you see in the McCartney-Taylor information, and in the backyardhive.com information. One of the things they explain is that it's might be very helpful to you, especially if you're my age, that instead of putting it high on legs like that you can take something simple like concrete blocks. If you'd stack those concrete blocks too high and put that underneath your top bar hive, then it would be lower, and you could simply sit the top bar hive directly on the blocks, and you could get a little stool and you could sit there and work on your hive while sitting, instead of constantly bending over to lift each of the hive. I know it's a small thing, but it's an option. And you always remember what Paladin Prepper tells you, and that is the one thing that a prepper always needs is options. I might also mention here, as you can see, that one of the things I haven't done yet is I've cut these and ripped them here. You can see they're still it's still rough on the edges here, and that's why I have the sandpaper out here. So I'm going to hit the edges with sandpaper and get those cleaned up, and that will do for this update.